Welcome back, everyone, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. I am one of your hosts this week, Professor Chris G, and on the other line with me is the man that I'm giving away because I can, so he can train and become a better f***ing partner. Oh, we're not monetizing this. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, my man, how you doing?
Yeah, but I don't want to stay around anyway, so I just...
Get out of here. I don't even love you.
Yeah, well, you know, got a funny way of showing it.
Oh, man, the show that we have for our audience today. How are you doing, bro? It feels so good to be back in front of the microphone once again to do this show with you. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm glad we're getting back into a rhythm. I mean, I know I made that comment like 2 or 3 times, last week, but
yeah,
I mean, once as an accident, twice as a rhythm, 3 times as a pattern or whatever, so.
So, some things that we can go ahead and update our audience on. We are officially, and if you were subscribed to us on YouTube, you can go ahead and resubscribe because all of our stuff is on there. And our RSS feed is now on YouTube for you to go and be able to listen to our show on YouTube Music. All of our videos are updated on there. Go ahead and you can resubscribe to us on YouTube, and those numbers do go towards our Spotify numbers as well. So it's an all-in-one inclusive thing. How great is it to be back on YouTube, bro?
It's awesome to not only be back on YouTube, but to have our stuff be fully integrated. And we've got a one-stop shop, and everything seems to be pulling towards the same rope. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, Doug. I mean, it's great to finally be back on YouTube. It's great that YouTube has partnered up with podcasts to make it easier for people to get content, I guess you can say. So it's awesome. Yes, it still has ads, everybody, but I mean, there's no real way around that besides going over to our Patreon. But you can enjoy us anywhere. If you have an Amazon Alexa, if you have a Google Wi-Fi thing in your home speaker, you can tell it to play our show, and we will come right on, and it will play the latest episode that we have uploaded. So, going forward, you can see and hear everything on YouTube. So, it's really nice to get back to this point, bro, because honestly, we kind of gave up on YouTube a couple years ago, and I went on there, and bro, there was a lot of people still listening to our stuff on there, and I felt bad, and I started commenting back on a lot of people that were commenting, trying to reach out to us, and there's a whole community out there that was reaching out to us and liking our videos, or some of them were calling our show clickbait. And I was like, no, the show's not clickbait. This is a podcast video chat, or this is a podcast channel. And it was pretty funny, bro.
Oh, we're clickbait because we weren't uploading full episodes without anybody's consent?
Yes.
Oh, well, shucks.
Because people are clicking thinking that they're going to be watching a full episode. Like, I was like, that's not what our channel is for. I mean, we have artwork up, but the artwork is to basically give you an idea, and it's up to you as the audience. And I want to preference this because I thought that we were being honest with our audience, but we by no means condone piracy on our show, and we want you, the audience, to be able to find a legal way to be able to watch the shows along with us as we're going through these, because that's the way that we want you to be able to uh, listen to our reviews. You can listen to it regularly, and hopefully we paint a good picture for you. And we also don't mind if you have the episode up and we're scrubbing through the episode and you want to visibly see everything. But there's ways to find them. There's websites to find them. We're just not providing all of that for you. But we will provide the entertainment to your ears every single week here on our show. So, anything you want to add to that, Doug?
Yeah, if you're confused on where to go, we've dropped a few not so subtle hints in multiple episodes.
Yes.
Since the Pokemon Company gave the old sunset to watchpokemon.com, which I still don't understand.
Yeah, they got rid of that. So there's Flicks websites out there for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, Google's your friend is my response to anybody who's asking.
There's literally a Netflix version of Pokemon out there somewhere. So I mean, and that's as subtle as I can be, and I will say no more. But
yeah,
yeah,
you don't want to get in any trouble. So yeah, I mean,
but we don't know the legality of that site. It could, because I know that site does come outside of the U.S. So I mean, it could be legal somewhere else, which is why it has not been taken out. Because there's no way, right, that the Pokemon Company doesn't know about that website.
Well, I'm sure they have to know.
Yeah, right. Like it's like one of those websites that's like we don't talk about, but we know about it. It's like one of those, and like I said, I don't know the legality around it. I would not give the website's name over the air. But I mean, if you listen to what we say and you know how to work Google, you will find it hands over fist, bro.
Put it this way, and I mean, I'm not. This is one of those bits where it's like eventually they're just going to tell me the name. I'm not going to do that, but if you Google the name of an episode and you hit videos,
it's there.
9 times out of 10, that's like within the top 3 that's going to come up.
Yes.
So that's about as far as I'm going to get you without actually telling you where to go. But yeah, and like you said, it's so prevalent that they have to be aware of it. But I think it's kind of one of those things where they're like, all right, we're going to fight our battles.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're trying to profit off of it. They're just like hosting it. But I don't know. And it's not for me to know. So.
All right, but this is another week of us doing this show, bro. Let's get everyone caught up on life. How are you doing out there? I mean, I know we had a discussion off air that we will not talk about on air, but outside of that, Doug, how are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better now that since I've been on the call. No, I'm good though, because it's getting warmer. I mean, it's not quite spring, but it's basically right around the corner. I mean, I hate to be negative. I feel like we're probably in line for one more
cold breeze, next
cold
week.
Bullshit, and then we'll probably be done. I mean, we're changing the clocks in a couple weeks, so I feel like that's got to be on the way out. I'm always interested by changing the clocks because I feel like that brings back the inevitable discussion of, aren't we going to get rid of it? And I feel like that comes up every year and nothing ever happens. I know some people that don't change their clocks and they're like, screw it, it's just going to be wrong 6 months out of the year.
Do you really know people that don't change their goddamn clocks?
Well, and it's not a lot of clocks. It's like, oh, I'm not going to change my clock in my car. I'll just be aware that it's, an hour off.
That would bug the shit out of me. for half the year, you think that it's one time, and then you gotta physically remember in your mind. I've been in a car where they didn't do that, but most cars do it on its own now. Most are like computers now.
Yeah, most are sunk up, or they're attached to whatever, a satellite or whatever, and they'll do it. But I think ours is still manual,
Okay.
and I mean ours is a 15, so whatever that says. Um, but yeah, and I mean, be honest, how many manual clocks do you have?
Um. Honestly, I a few. It really pisses me off to have to do it because we got we got the microwave, we got the
Yeah,
oven.
yeah.
I'm trying to think. Let's see. The TV does it on its own. The laptop does it on its own.
Phones do it on their own.
Phones do it on their own. Um, we do have a clock, or well, we did have a clock above the sink in the kitchen, which I took down. And now that I'm thinking about it, I never put that sucker back up. Good.
Well, there you go. Now
I,
you've got a reason to not take it back up for at least a couple of weeks.
I didn't like that clock anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of clocks, and I know we'll get into the show, everybody. This is gonna be a very entertaining podcast because we have some views on these episodes that we think that you guys are going to enjoy. But when you were growing up, bro, did any of your grandparents or your cousins have a cuckoo clock
Yes.
inside of their house?
It wasn't a cuckoo clock, but it was a big stand up um grandfather clock that chimed
Every hour?
once. Well, no, it chimed once every half hour, which I thought was a bit strange, but whatever. And then, whatever the corresponding hour was, until I think 6 or 7 p.m. I think it stopped or whatever.
Oh, so it didn't do
So
it at night.
no, it didn't do it at like 3 in the morning. No.
Okay, okay, okay. So I mean that's convenient. Yeah, I had a grandmother who actually had one of those big cuckoo 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 cuckoo, and my dad's old partner when I was growing up, um, she had what was it called? It was like a cuckoo clock, but it was Sylvester and Tweety Bird, and
Oh, nice.
they would run around like two or three times at the top of every hour and then go back inside. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That
Uh,
is pretty cool.
yeah, I like that one better than the cuckoo cuckoo. But yeah, outside of that, Doug, yeah, I'm on my end. I'm doing good. I'm I'm living life.
Yep.
I'm knocking on wood right now. I'm germ free, even though I have kids in school and I know they bring it home to us.
Dude,
Uh,
it's ridiculous. I'm telling you.
yeah, bro. You don't even have to tell me twice. Um, yeah, I mean I know before or what when we started recording I had a sneezing fit, but I think that's more along the lines of I just need to dust a little bit around my desk because I think some of the dust like that was really bad. Like that was like a 30-second like sneezing fit, but it's not because I'm sick. It was probably because of the fucking dust because I it's been about a week and a half since I've dusted my desk, so I need to.
I mean, you know it's bad when you've got enough time to be like, hold on, I got to mute Mike. I was like, okay.
I come back and you're like, "Are you alive? Are you good?" I was like,
I was
"Bro,
like,
I'm good." Oh man, my editing is so good. You didn't even realize I had a coughing fit, everyone.
yeah.
All the things that we have. You ever listened to one of our shows back? And I know you've done it in the past on purpose. Like you'll go and say something that you know I do not want being said or should not be said. Have you ever gone back or taken note to see if I took out something that you said out of an episode, Doug?
Yeah, I did that recently. What episode was it? Oh, this might not have been it, but for some reason this sticks out. I feel like I said something or something was said during the game show. And I was like, I wonder if he kept and whatever it was, you didn't keep it. And I was like, he's a chicken.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot taken out of that game show to condense it down to what it was. But yeah, yeah, I've always wondered if you actually went back after saying something, if you just wrote it down and was just like, you know what, I'm going to see if this even makes it onto the show. And 9 times out of 10, it won't unless I legitimately don't listen for it. And or I don't hear it, and then you'll get that one pass. I know there's been one or two where you're like, motherfucker didn't take it out. Ha!
There has been, and without bringing the incident back up because it's not relevant, at this point because it's been years. I do remember one episode. And it always seems to happen before we actually get into the episode because I feel like once we actually get into like episode breakdown mode, it takes a lot to kind of get us out of that lane.
Yeah.
But like right now, if we're just bullshitting, like that seems to be like prime editing territory. And I again, I'm not gonna say what. Because I know it was me, because I remembered, I specifically remember texting you going, what's wrong with X, Y, and Z? And you're like, I didn't think you'd want that out there.
Well, I mean, now I'm interested. I mean, and I'm good at editing. So if you say it and I'm like, oh well, this isn't making the podcast. I'm curious what was said. I mean, because we're way past the editing point now on it. What was it?
Well, I mean, without getting into specifics, I really needed to go to the bathroom and I had to hold up a recording for a little bit. And when we started, I made reference. I was like, yeah, we're probably a little bit late starting because I had to take a, whatever. Well, that's not making it.
And it fucking made it out there, didn't it?
And I was like, oh, I thought you were going to take it out. And you're like, I thought it was funny. Well, it is. But...
Holy shit. The way that my mind thinks now, because that wouldn't make it these days. So, yeah, I these days I would not keep that in there. So I apologize, everyone, if you listen to one of the old episodes and you come across that episode, someone's going to put it in the comments on YouTube and be like, it was this episode at this time.
Yeah, somebody's going to find it now. And that's specifically why I didn't want to do it. But I remember you saying, oh, well, that's going to get taken out. And then it didn't. And I was like, what happened to... And you're like, well, we both laughed at it.
So, yeah.
Like, and I think you even said, you brought it up. I was like, well, fair enough.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like that's something on YouTube that I have to get used to because people actually take the time to put in our comments like different things. Like I'm referencing this point, like it'll be like 32 minutes and 15 seconds of the episode. Can you elaborate on this? Or people talking about the band episodes that we had and their memories on it when they were growing up. Like we had someone, and I had no idea. I had to actually do a little bit of digging on this one. But someone said that the Misty episode, the one where James gets boobs,
Mm-hmm.
That episode, apparently that was translated in English on a VHS tape, but did not air. But there was only very few tapes made.
What? And speaking of that, that just tripped a memory. What episode of that? Because we had a banned episode that was in English. What
Yes.
episode was that?
Oh yeah, the Mandarin Island mismatch.
There it is. There it is. Okay, what? I knew it was something with an M. I don't know why Maiden, because the Maiden had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was when Ash was getting one of his badges. It's no longer available, but I mean, it was fully translated in English. So,
Because I remember, and I'm pretty sure I made reference to it at the time. I remember. I thought I remembered watching it, but I couldn't find hide nor tail of it with subtitles. And I was like, and then you were like, oh, because they got banned a couple of years ago.
yep.
And by a couple, I think at this point I probably mean like 10 or 12.
Yeah,
And I think
it did.
I think we did a search, and I think it popped up on a banned list. And I was like, well, son of a bitch.
Which, I mean, to each his own. I mean, it is what it is when it comes to that stuff. We got more banned episodes in the future. So we'll hit them when we get down there. But yeah, outside of that, Doug, I think we're pretty good on our preamble today.
Yeah, like you said, this is a couple of different episode, interesting episodes to break down for different reasons, and the discussion is going to continue next week because, and I'll get into it, but some of these episodes have conflicting messages going on at the same time, and it's very confusing.
Well, all right. Let's go ahead and get on to the episode. Today we are reviewing the 135th and 136th episode of the Pokemon series. The first one is called Tanks a Lot, or translated from Japanese, Pasture, Otachi, and Togepy. Premiered in Japan February 3rd, 2000, and here in the States January 27th, 2001. And the main episode that you guys clicked on for this, I mean, maybe some of you clicked on for Tanks a Lot, but most of you are going to be clicking on because Charizard is the main focus of this next episode, and it's Charizard's Burning Ambition, or translated from Japanese, Lizardon's Valley Until We Meet Again. Premiered.
Oh, so they're just giving away. They're just giving it away.
Yes.
Jiminy crickets. Have a little subtlety, Japan. What are you doing?
Premiered in Japan February 10th, 2000, and here in the States February 3rd, 2001. Literally a week apart from being a whole year, bro.
Wow.
Wow. I'm just now putting that together. These episodes are literally, how many weeks are there in a year, Doug?
52.
52. There are 51 weeks apart difference of these episodes dropping.
Wow.
Yeah. For some reason, I was about to say 56, and I don't know why. But yes, those are the two episodes that we are doing this week. And I don't know about you, bro, but I am good and ready to go if you are ready to go. Are you ready to start our journey into reviewing these episodes?
Absolutely.
All right. So the first one is Tanks a Lot. And I'm going to start getting everything up here. And all right. So we start this week's episode with our heroes taking a cat nap. They're sleeping underneath a tree, which can't be that comfortable. I mean, Ash looks pretty comfortable. But Togepy wakes up and is like, I want to play. Pikachu, play with me. And Pikachu's like, no, I'm sleeping. And then it turns around and Togepi's like, I want to play. And then out of nowhere, Togepi's like, fine, I'll go to sleep. So it curls into its shell and goes to sleep. And then we see a wild Sentret come across. And it has a little apple. And the Sentret runs back over to its family and is like, oh no, it doesn't. One of the Sentrets is, which seems like the mother, is looking at all her babies and she's like, have you seen your brother? Have you seen your brother? And the Sentrets are like, no, we haven't. And she's looking around and she's now like really worried as to where her baby went. And then we jump straight over to Team Rocket, who spent their entire budget, Doug, on a freaking Arbok tank. And James even made a subtle joke saying, man, a wheezing tank would have been so much better. Why don't you take it from here, my brother?
Yeah, and I was glad to hear them reference, like, oh, this is the whole budget, and because I feel like we've had multiple episodes where it's like, where's Team Rocket getting the funds for all this equipment trying to catch Pikachu, all the shock resistant glass bottles and all the equipment to dig the many holes that they inevitably fall into and stuff. So at least they reference like, oh, we probably won't be eating for a while, but as long as we catch Pikachu, it'll all be worth it. Well, spoiler alert. So, they got this freaking big Arbok tank, and they were initially just gonna roll up and just get them because they're like, oh, they're sleeping. It's, like taking candy from a baby, and they're like, no, we can't just roll up because even this thing moving's gonna, wake up the whole valley. And they're like, oh, shucks. So we go back, and this little Sentret wakes up Togepi, and Togepi is like confused for a nanosecond.
Well, it doesn't really wake it up right away, but the Sentret goes to wake it up and then accidentally pushes Togepi down a hill.
Oh shit, that's right, and it doesn't wake up until they get to the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, and Togepi's kind of disoriented because its body's been shaken, going all the way down the hill.
But yeah, so it is kind of like, whoa, I was up there, now I'm down here. But then it's like, oh, new friends. So they start dancing around and playing, and Sentret's kind of like, well, I can do that too. So they both kind of go, rolling, and
they roll into the Arbok tank. Now that Team Rocket is outside of the tank, looking around, trying to find the twerps.
And Meowth's kind of sitting there and they're like, "What's that sound?" And they look in the cockpit, and they're like, "There's Togepi," and they're like, "And what's that?" Oh, and they don't identify it as a Sentret. They're like, "What's it?" And they're playing real close to the controls. And they're like, oh, they can't do anything. And lo and behold, they, I think the Sentret knocks it
knocks the
what
switch.
Works as, basically knocks the parking brake. So the freaking, the robot, couldn't think of the word robot. That was good. Takes off. Well, tank robot takes off, and Team Rocket is resigned to chase after it, and then we finally get thrown back to our heroes, and Misty wakes up and
she's looking for Togepi.
Togepi? Togepi? Oh, go back to sleep, Pikachu. I don't want to get up yet. I'm trying to sleep. Cut it out, Pikachu. Pikachu, Pikachu. Sentret! What's what? Hey, what kind of Pokemon is that?
Togepi's not there, and then they see another Sentret, who I think you correctly pointed out must be the mother, and she's kind of like, have you seen my baby? And Pikachu doesn't wake up through this whole thing, which I
No.
think is funny. Everybody else is waking up, and Pikachu is dead to the world.
And the Sentret scares the mess out of Ash too, because Ash wakes up and he has this big old squirrel just like looking at him like right in the face, and Ash is like, "Oh my goodness!" And then he takes out his Pokédex. Pikachu finally wakes up, and they find out what Sentret is, and Sentret picks up one of the eaten apples and is like, "Hey, where's my baby? Have you seen my baby?" And Misty is like, "I think it's looking for someone." And then Brock is like, "Yeah, I think you're right." And then they see the tank gearing up smoke all the way down in the valley, and Sentret goes up on his high tail and is like, "Is that what I think it is?" And it's like, "Oh my gosh, my baby!" And it just starts running. Pikachu goes after it, which makes our heroes go running after it too. And the tank is doing damage in these hills. Like, this tank is going through all this hard rock and everything when it comes to just veering forward. And Jesse and James and Meowth are still trying to catch up to the tank, and they get stopped by a whole bunch of Sentret who sees the tank, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we gotta save our brother! We gotta save our brother!" And Jesse and James get the bright idea of like stealing these Sentret and using them to end up getting all of their like snacks and stuff. And then we find out that this is where we actually find out that James used all of their money to buy the tank. And Meowth is like, I cut back and wasn't even eating caviar anymore. I was eating the off-brand cat food. James was saying the same thing. He's like, I cut back on food as well. And Jesse was like, I cut back too. I only go back to get seconds for food now. And Meowth is like, she got seconds? and then Jesse proceeds to scold James and Meowth she starts scolding James in regards to spending all of the money and all of their life savings on this robot that has now gotten away, and they have to go and start to find. Doug, you want to go ahead and go to the part where we meet up with Ash, where Ash meets up with Team Rocket in the valley?
Yes. So basically, Brock has out his Onix so the crew can catch up to, the commotion. And as they kind of, catch up to everything, that's when they get a look and they see, along with the baby Sentret, Togepi's in the tank as well. So, Misty freaks out, and they're like, well, somebody's got to get in there, so we can make sure the Togepi's safe and the Sentret. And so Pikachu, obviously is the one that kind of takes the lead and is doing its best Indiana Jones impersonation. And meanwhile, Team Rocket gets the bright idea to use their old standby trick of getting the Arbitank stuck in a hole, because if Plan A for Team Rocket doesn't work, Plan B always seems to be a hole. And Meowth, he tries to get in as well. So you've got basically four cooks in the kitchen, and Pikachu's like, have this Thunder Shock while you're at it, which isn't advisable because you're in a machine, but it's Meowth, so it's supposed to be funny. Um, and the the shock forces the tank to malfunction, and for some reason there's a spring in the bottom of the tank, and
Well, I mean,
it
our heroes dug that spring, so they dug it up
oh
so they could have the Arbok tank fall into it, so they can get Togepi and Sentret out.
oh, my mistake.
No, you're all good. Yeah, and it's funny because Sentra sees his mother, and it's like, oh my gosh, but it's all like tied up in the cords on the inside, and this machine is so high tech that the machine flips itself back up and just starts barreling through again, and Misty's like, oh crap, and runs out of the way. This tank this tank is some type of tank. It has a freaking drill to drill the rocks in front of it. It has rockets inside of its mouth to open up a field so it can keep moving. Like, it has boxing arms in case it's getting ready to come up to a spot that it can't squeeze through, where it can like box all the rocks out of the way. And Ash and Misty and Brock, they're sitting there and they're like, I cannot believe that this hole didn't keep the Arbok tank out. And then here comes Psyduck just swimming on his back. Is like, hey, I like this swing or this spring. And Misty is like, Psyduck, use your psychic attack. And Psyduck's like, what are you talking about? And Misty's like, oh, you are such a pathetic Pokemon. So, Doug, you want to go to the next part?
And you mentioned the drill, and that comes in handy because this tank is about to go headlong into another cliff, but Togepi has enough wherewithal to use its metronome attack to activate the drill to get it to go through, and Brock, has like his eureka moment. He's like, if that tank keeps going through the mountain like that, it's going to bring down the whole town. And Ash is like, well, we can't be having that. So he throws out Charizard, and he wants Charizard to basically take the tank out of commission. And basically, everybody's kind of working in tandem. The crew is following Charizard on Brock's Onix. The wild Sentret are doing their part.
I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I ain't doing fucking shit.
I ain't doing fucking shit.
Sorry, I love that clip. As soon as you said that, I was like, all right, I have to say it.
Little quick plug for I Think You Should Leave. Not sponsor, but fucking funny.
Yeah.
Basically, Charizard catches up to the machine and basically is able to kind of hinder the robot and melts one of the windows with a flamethrower, and allowing Togepi, Pikachu, and the Sentret to get out. And of course, because of if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. Meowth is still stuck in there.
Yeah.
So he's panicking. And let's see, I lost my place. And
Well, Charizard,
Jesse,
Charizard and the Arbok tank start going like head to head with each other.
yes. And the pardon me, the tank, is a tank. You know, um and Jesse and James have to kind of play hero, to get Meowth out, but they in their efforts to get Meowth out, they inevitably get sent blasting off again.
We're blasting off again. Ding.
And I had a note, and I kind of had to cross it off and put like an asterisk next to it, because my initial note was they didn't meet anybody, like another human, in this episode, because all they really dealt with was Team Rocket and a group of wild Sentret. But in like the last 5 minutes, an Officer Jenny comes up and is like, "Hey, are you responsible for this friggin' giant hole in the mountain?" And they're like, "Yes, it was us, but there was an out of control robot, and you weren't here, and it was gonna." And she's like, "No, we're grateful because
when people the people in the town would have to go all the way around the mountain to get to the next town, and now they can just go straight through."
So they're like, "Oh, thank you, you're our heroes. You saved our town from having to, dip into the funds to build a railroad. You just used a mechanical device to just bore through our natural wonder." And I don't mean to be that cynical, but because I mean, obviously the town's not that broken up about it. And let's see, and then they're kind of like, "Well, in theory, Team Rocket should be getting some of the pats on the back, but they're somewhere in the stratosphere by now, so we'll just take it because we're the hero."
And that's literally the how we end up ending the episode.
Yeah, kind of a nothing burger, personally.
A nothing burger.
A nothing burger.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone, that's literally how we ended. And yeah, like I said, if you came in for a review of this episode, I mean that's your review. It was more entertaining reviewing the episode as it was watching it. But the main meat of this podcast is going to come out of this next one, because this next one actually has story advancement, right, Doug?
Yeah, actual stuff that's going to matter when you tune in next week and stuff.
So the next episode that we are going to go over here today is Charizard's Burning Ambition, or Lizardon's Valley, until we meet again. You still can't believe that they put that in the title, can you?
They just gave that right away.
Yep.
Like you don't have to watch 1 second of this episode. You know what happened.
So,
like I don't know. That seems like an oversight or an undersight or something.
So, all right, Doug. I'm gonna have you start this next episode, and then I'm going to chime in in the middle of it. So go ahead and start the episode up for us.
So basically, this episode starts like about six of every 10 episodes start. Ash and the crew are walking, and they're exhausted. and they're followed not far behind by Team Rocket, and Team Rocket starts talking about, you know, all we really need is the Twerp's Pikachu, and we'd be on Easy Street. But then they literally start counting on their fingers how many other Pokemon besides Pikachu that the three of them have to counteract Team Rocket's Pokemon, which at this point is what? Arbok, Weezing, Lickitung, Victreebel, and Meowth if you can count him.
Yes.
Because, I mean, how often is Meowth, pardon me, thrown in to be like a battling Pokemon, like once in a blue moon?
For real.
And, let's see. Basically, and this, I made a note of this and I underlined it and I put stars around it. And this is completely out of nowhere. And I had to stop and rewind the episode because I was like, there's no way this just comes up. And it's fucking Misty and Brock basically tell Ash that using Charizard is cheating.
Yes.
And they're 100% serious.
Yes.
I go fuck yourselves. Like, what? What?
Yeah, I don't like it either, bro. Like,
what?
It's not cheating, though.
It's a Pokemon.
It's a Pokemon that you've trained I put trained in asterisks.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that.
So, I mean, it's a Pokemon that you evolved, and it should be fair game to use this Pokemon whenever you want to. Or how is it cheating because you have a strong ass Pokemon?
Yeah, I mean, if we go by that logic, using Ash's particular Pikachu should be considered a cheat code.
Yes. Ash should not have been able to use his Pikachu in that last battle on when he was fighting Leon all the last year in that Pokemon battle.
Right. He should have been outlawed.
Yes.
Ash should have been using Muck and Kingler and a couple of Taurosises. It's cheating. What the? Oh, because Charizard's so much bigger. Okay, that's not Charizard's fault.
No, it is not.
Fuck. That made me... And we weren't even like 5 minutes into the episode, and I'm already pausing and going back. I almost texted you, fucking for real in this episode?
So...
It's cheating because he's so much bigger.
But, yeah, so we end up meeting up with a chick. And Brock is head over heels for this woman. What was the name of that lady, Doug?
Oh, Liza.
Liza? Okay. Yeah, Brock is like, "Oh, you are so pretty." He's like, I'm the leader of this bunch, and just trying to like cheese her up like all sorts of left field, but she's not hearing any of it, Doug.
No.
Liza calls out her Charlotte, which is a female Charizard, to help transport all of our heroes via a balloon. And Ash's Charizard, Ash sends out his Charizard, and she's like, "Oh, so you do have a Charizard?" And Ash is like, "Yeah." And come to find out, like, she kind of like challenges him, and she's like, "Why don't you ride on the back of your Charizard and we'll meet you up here?" And so she transports Misty and Brock via a balloon, and Ash gets on the back of his Charizard, and his Charizard is so weak that it couldn't even fly with Ash on its back.
Yeah, I think they maybe got a couple feet off the ground, and you could just see like Charizard's eyes are bugging out, and it's struggling. And I mean, to make a long story, well, okay, there's a couple. I want to go back because there's a couple things while they're in the air, but
Yes.
when Liza suggested that Ash ride his Charizard to the sanctuary, Ash is like, "What do you think, Charizard?" And Charizard like immediately is like, "Nah, this isn't how this relationship's gonna go." And um, Liza looks over at Charlie and goes, "He won't even let him get on his back to fly him." And um, and then they're in the air, and so Misty and Brock are in the basket, right? And Liza's up top with Charla, and Liza does the thing where she kind of looks back to kind of make sure that Brock and Misty are comfortable or they're still there or whatever. And Misty says something, and Liza's like, "Hold on," and she pulls out this like rotary phone, and she calls, and she's like, "Sorry, it's kind of windy, I can't hear you." And Misty's like, "No, I was just saying that your Charizard is so well trained, and you seem to have such a good relationship." And she's like, "Oh, thanks. We work on our relationship, and we're constantly out here, kind of defending our land from poachers." And then Misty is like, her heckles go up immediately, and she's like, "You don't think we're poachers, do you? Like, we're out here trying to do harm?" And Liza is immediately backtracking. She's like, "No, no, 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 no.
No,
Uh,
not you, but
I can tell that y'all have the best of intentions." And then so Liza and Charla get there, and they're kind of sitting there like, "I wonder what happened to Ash and Charizard." And poor Charizard, boy, he comes stomping up the mountain, and you can tell he's dragging, and he is just, huh, no pun intended, and
yeah.
he's just, ha, ha, ha. And then, Liza kind of makes the comment again about, Charizard being poorly trained, and Ash is like, "Hey, we fucking made it here, didn't we?"
Oh man.
Charizard should have burned him to a crisp there. He's like, "Yeah, we made it because I won. What did you do?" Um,
Eh, because I mean, his Charizard is so out of shape. Come to find out, and she's sitting there and she's like, how is your Charizard not strong enough to fly you up? And Ash completely goes into defense mode, and he's like, "My Charizard is just as good as anybody else's Charizard." Blah, 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 blah. And then Charizard's like, "Yeah, I'm good," and then starts shooting out fire. And Charla is looking over and is like, "Bro, um, yeah."
well trained Charizard shouldn't have to just randomly shit out fire to prove a point. I was like, "Ouch!" Fucking got his ass.
Yeah, for real. So,
And then Ash goes to his next like favorite go to. He's like, "You want to see who's a well trained Charizard? I'll challenge you to a battle." And I also kind of underline this with a question mark. Um,
well, let's not skip over the fact that Charizard almost burnt off Ash's pants, and Ash had to go and dive into the water to get the fire off of him.
well, no, yeah, I did kind of did skip. I mean, that's Ash and Charizard on a Tuesday. That's nothing new. Um, she so Ash challenges Liza to a battle with Charla, but um, Liza declines, basically saying that Charla is too well trained to
Yes.
battle.
Yeah.
What the fuck kind of reasoning is that?
I mean, do you blame her? I mean, she can tell that her Charizard is so much more well trained, and Ash and Charizard are like in sync here. So Ash is like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You need to go and you need to battle me, and I challenge you to a match. And if I challenge you to a match, you go and you battle me." And Charizard's like, "Yeah, he challenged you to a match." It's so funny.
Oh man.
Oh man, if I could make the artwork a GIF like of just that 2 seconds just going back and forth, that's what this episode would be for the artwork, but I can't do that, sadly.
So yeah, that would be awesome.
Do you say GIF or GIF?
It's I say GIF, but I think depending on what you read and what you click on, I think the proper pronunciation might be GIF, but I reject that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I reject
because I hear GIF and I think peanut butter.
Exactly. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so me and you are in the same boat. Okay, and you got people going, "It's GIF." No, it's GIF. You guys can argue it out.
So we apologize for temporarily poisoning the comment section, but hopefully y'all can be civil. Liza's basically like, well, there's tons of wild Charizard in this valley. I'm sure you could find one to battle, and they point out one, and he's like, that's the most gentle Charizard in the valley. If you can battle him, you're in shape. And Ash and his Charizard are stunned because this Charizard is like the most gentle of gentle giants. And they're like, but he's a sweetheart. And so Ash's Charizard marches right up to this guy, and he blows a flamethrower just square in the face. I mean, just unprompted. Didn't even give him time to like catch his bearings. And the freaking wild Charizard just takes it and just like it's nothing. And Ash is like, it's a chicken. It walked away from me. It took a flamethrower right in the face. Didn't even do nothing. And what does Liza say? Because Liza has a good Liza has a good retort. Liza's like, it doesn't see your Charizard as a threat,
as a worthy opponent. Yep.
And it's not gonna dignify such an out of pocket action with like a physical response. And it finally pardon me, it finally gets to square off with one, and Ash's Charizard basically gets knocked on its ass like 5 seconds in, and Charla and Liza are kind of standing there like, oh, that had to hurt. And Charizard's got kind of the same mentality as Ash. Like, he doesn't know, to stay down, because Ash is a stubborn little piece of something or other itself.
Yeah.
Or himself, rather. And Liza's kind of like, well, that's another strike for your Charizard not being well trained, because it doesn't know when to quit.
Well, I mean, do you blame it? I mean, it shot out fire, hit Charla like right in the face, and then Charla just took her tail and just was like smack, and just smacked Charizard into next week. Charizard goes and falls into the fucking water, and it wasn't Charla. It was one of the it was just a random. It was a wild. Yeah, one of the wild Charizards, and Charizard's just not staying down, and it's climbing up, and Liza goes and closes the door. She's like, this was fun, but you're basically tampering with my Charizard Valley, so I'm gonna have to close the door on you. I'm sorry. Have a good day." And then that's where Team Rocket comes back in, bro.
Yeah, so Team Rocket's sitting there and going, "This is ridiculous. Did you see how they're treating the Torps Charizard?" And like they get indignant and they're like, and well, so they're mad about that, and then they kind of think about it and they're like, and we probably can't get any of those Charizards because even though they're wild, look at how easily they handled the Twerps Charizard, and the Twerps Charizard has us for lunch every other week. So we're like doubly fucked. Did they get another robot?
Yeah, they got a human robot to go up
Jeez,
there. I know.
that's right. I was like, I must be looking at my notes for the last episode again. I was like, nope, they get another robot. And
yeah, it's pretty sad.
And
so they get another robot, and they think that they're gonna go up there and pickpocket all of these Charizards that's up there. Charizard continues to bang on the door, and Liza opens it up and is like, "Are you done throwing a fit yet?" And Jesse's like, "Who does she think she is over here?" And Charizard's like, "Hey, I want to get trained by you guys." And it's at this point that Charla walks over to Ash's Charizard and is like, "Oh, you wanna train? Okay." And she takes him by the wrist and she swings him around and she throws him into the water. And Ash is like, "Oh my God!" She just threw him out again. And then Liza goes and closes the fucking door again. I was dying, bro.
Like this fucking Ash's Charizard is not having a very good 10 minutes here.
No.
And let's see. So basically, Misty, so Charizard gets thrown in the water, right?
Yes.
And Liza kind of makes a comment about, why don't you stay there until, you've kind of had time to reflect and realize you actually want to be trained. And Charizard's just not moving. And so Ash eventually goes up to Charizard and is like, "Hey, do you want to kind of pack it in?" And, we can try again tomorrow. And Charizard's like, "Nah, it's just fucking personal now." And, Team Walk,
Team Walk It.
It's what it's Meowth is basically translating for Team Rocket because they make a comment about they wish that they could understand Charizard's mumble because Charizard's kind of mumbling.
Poor thing! I understand your pain!
Do you, Jane?
I can imagine how it feels to be utterly rejected!
You and Jess don't have to imagine.
Charizard kind of goes into like a deep thought, and it's like, am I not good enough? Am I not strong enough? But do you think of Team Rocket as good guys? Or what is your view? Or what is your view on Team Rocket? Because I'm curious.
That is interesting. Because so they're part of the evil group, right?
Yes.
But even on the occasions that they succeed in their plans, they only succeed for what? Maybe 10, 15 minutes?
Yes.
And then, whatever's undone by the end of the episode. And, I mean, even in times where, they've had a big part in movies or stuff, they always inevitably end up teaming up with the, Ash and the crew to battle the bigger bad or to return the world to the status quo. So I think Team Rocket, I think they want to believe that they're bad, but I think they wouldn't know what to do with themselves if they actually succeeded.
I tend to sit here and think of Team Rocket as kind of good guys because I mean, yeah, they do so much bad, but do you ever see Ash really call the cops on Team Rocket? No, right?
No.
I think it's one of those things where if Ash doesn't see Team Rocket for like 3 or 4 days, he thinks something's wrong, which could be kind of bad in a way. But I always wonder like what his real thoughts are. Like, does he just treat Team Rocket as like training buddies to train his Pokemon? Because I mean, his Pokemon have to be gaining experience every time that he makes them explode and fly away. I'm just saying, right?
Well, yeah, no, and I mean, like you just referenced, you're like, how often does Ash call the cops on Team Rocket? If Ash called the cops on Team Rocket, every episode would be like 10 minutes.
Yes.
Like, Ash has to kind of take the bull by the horns and be the hero. And then, Officer Jenny can come in and do cleanup in the last 2 minutes. And, the thing that frustrates me, and I mean, I don't really think about it that often, is the surprise on Ash's face. Oh my God, it's Team Rocket. It's like,
I know.
Yeah. Like, that's one of those things where you don't really think about it, because I think, as a viewer, I think you kind of take for granted. It's like, well, Team Rocket has to show up, and then, they get dealt with, and maybe on occasion they stick around and it becomes like a two-parter, but that's kind of rare.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do we kind of make note of, like, oh, here's Team Rocket in the first 2 minutes, and then they're gone, and then there's been a couple episodes lately where they don't come back. So I feel like they're just checking the Team Rocket box.
Yeah, since they do walk that fine line, they're a little funny. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as the show goes on.
But they're not much of a. I mean, because I've made the comment. What was it? Black and White. Yeah, when like Team Rocket is actually treated like as competent and like somewhat of a threat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what I was missing. Like, Team Rocket's out here doing some spy shit.
So.
But yeah, so getting back to the episode, Charizard sits there, talking about wanting to be stronger, and we see that our heroes have fallen asleep, but Team Rocket's kind of stepping up and kind of, to your point, kind of being good guys, tossing rocks on Charizard to prevent him from his flame going out, because as we established in the original Charmander episode, Charmander's flame goes out, he's dead.
Yes.
And so the next morning we wake up and Charizard's still sitting there, and then friggin' Team Rocket's still at it with their little robot fella, and Charizard's like, oh yeah, have this, and he gives it a flamethrower, and they go blasting off, but they're actually happy about it. Something about giving Charizard confidence, because he kind of literally and figuratively got knocked on his ass all the previous day. And
Charizard kind of goes into like a deep thought too, bro.
Yeah.
Like
and then
it becomes like nighttime, and he's like in like full blown like deep thought, and Liza she sits there and she looks out. I mean, I know I'm backtracking just a little bit, but she kind of looks out the door and looks over at Charizard, and she's like, She's like, well, maybe he is ready.
Hey, you did it, Charizard! Pikachu! You can train with us now if you like. Hold it! Now Charizard's okay because it beat them? Anybody could beat those three. Then why the big change? Because it's proven it wants to be green. Don't you agree?
And all the Charizards are in agreement, and they start charring away. They're like, char! And they're kind of welcoming Charizard into the bunch, and Ash looks over at Charizard and they kind of have a moment. And this is where I was talking to you outside when I was getting home earlier. I was like, do you think that Ash cares more about his Charizard than he does his Pikachu? I mean, I know he cares about all his Pokemon, but I think Charizard leaves a small like imprint on his heart because he knows he could always count on Pikachu, but Charmander had a rough upbringing, and he basically nursed Charmander back to health, and then he had a hard time with Charmeleon and Charizard, and then they finally got onto the same page, and now Charizard's gonna go and run away, and Ash gets into his feelings, and he's like Charizard, just go, and he just leaves.
I still think this is a bitch move.
Really?
Yeah, because like Liza makes the point about Ash not being a good Charizard trainer. And I reject the notion that to be a good trainer you need to focus on one type of Pokemon or, even more narrowly one Pokemon. Like, I mean, I understand that Misty likes water Pokemon.
Yes.
But she's not gonna neglect her Poliwag to train her Goldeen up. Right?
Yeah.
But, like, Ash raised Charmander, right? I'm not going to say caught because I know they went through the whole formality. Jump in the Pokeball and, you're mine and I saved you from Damien and all. In his own way, Ash makes sure his Pokemon get experience.
Yeah.
Do I agree with the way he goes at it? No, because I feel like Ash sometimes treats his Pokemon like they're tools. Like, oh, let me use Bulbasaur's Vine Whip as, climbing ropes, or, let me use Charmander as a flashlight as I go through this mansion, or, whatever. Charmander or Squirtle's my personal fire hydrant, whatever. I mean, that's the least like serious example, because I really can't think of an example of using Squirtle as a tool, but I think the other two stand on their own merits. But Ash's Pokemon get experience. Whether it's through legitimate training or not. And I mean, I know we'll have this discussion again next week, if memory serves.
Yes.
Specifically in the second episode we cover, I know we'll dig up this discussion again. But for Ash to be like, you know what? No, you stay here and get your experience and get your training in this. This Charizard Valley. I feel like that's a bitch move. And, I mean, I know in the past I've talked about Ash being allergic to keeping Pokemon because he let Butterfree go, and he let Pidgeot go, and...
I think this one's different, though. Do you think so?
I mean, I don't... I just don't agree with letting him go to quote unquote become a better Charizard.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't feel like he gets. I mean, yeah. In terms of the original Kanto League, or the original Pokemon League, rather. Yeah, did he get his first two badges kind of eh? Yeah, I mean, Misty and Brock basically admitted that they felt bad for him and they gave him the badges. But damn it, he earned the other six.
Yeah, he did.
And, yeah, he didn't win the Pokemon League, but he made it to 16 out of however many.
You're in that camp, Doug?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've started to be. I mean, and I mean, I'm not going to. I mean, well, have we been through the Orange League, or did we tap out before we got there?
Yeah, no, we went through it. He won.
Yeah,
it.
so he won the Orange League. I mean, this shit doesn't happen by accident.
But they kind of make it seem like going forward, they make it seem like the Orange League didn't even happen.
It's horseshit. There was a trophy.
There was a trophy, but there was no video game in it, and there's no way to monetize it, so it never happened.
Yeah, but you could mod it. You could mod something.
Oh yeah, trust me. I've played some modded Orange League games, and they're fun as hell. But yeah, never happened, Doug.
I don't know. I feel like if I sat there and watched the episode, it happened.
So, all right. But that he runs away from the Charizard. That's literally how we leave it. He doesn't really even say a nice goodbye to Charizard. If I was Charizard, I would feel like Ash is abandoning me like Damien did. Like, you're not even gonna say bye. You're not gonna say anything, bro. Like, really? That's where we're at, bro.
And I'm an afterthought. You can just say, go on, stay here. You're better off here, and you could just walk away. Like, you had a tearful goodbye. You had a tearful goodbye with Butterfree and Pidgeotto or Pidgeot and everything. With me, you just can't wait to run away from me.
Yeah.
I might not come back.
Piss
me off.
For real. So, I mean, in a way, we know that Charizard comes back, and Charizard does get trained. I'm curious to see, because I haven't seen all the episodes. I've seen a handful. I'm curious to see how Charizard first comes back. I think it's around the Johto League is when he ends up coming back, but I might be wrong. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research there. But all right, let's go ahead and go over these episodes, bro. So the first episode that we went through, what would you give that out of 5? Because me personally, I hate to do this because I don't give out this rating that often on the show. Normally, me and you kind of meet in the middle, and we'll hit like a 2. I'm gonna give like a 1.5 for that one because nothing happened.
Nothing happens. Yeah, and it's kind of funny that you say that, because I was gonna give it a 2.5 just for the kind of the meh factor, But I think. I mean, should we just give it a 1? I mean, because
it
aired, and
I'm gonna say the first episode you don't even have to watch. You don't ever have to view it. It's a nothing.
Hey, now, goddammit. Then why did we review it?
Because of the name of our show.
Shucks.
So we had to review it, and we tied it into an episode that you have to watch. So I mean, people know about it now. So outside of that, it's I'm gonna I'll go with you. I'll go a 1 on this episode, and then the Charizard episode, I'm gonna give that a 4, because not only do we get advancement, but I mean, we have the keen side of knowing what happens in the future, even though I know we're supposed to rate them individually, but the fact that we know that they tied this back multiple times, not even just like 4 or 5 times, they multiple times, I'm going to give it a 4. They always come back to this.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay.
I really do think that's fair. Yeah, 4 just for the significance of it.
Yeah.
And, Charizard does become the kind of what did I call it when we were talking earlier? The emergency cord kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 4, which I mean, compared to the episode before, it feels like a 5.
We had no evolution, damn it.
Yeah, seriously, he didn't even catch a Pokemon.
So, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna say for this one. Outside of that, do you have anything else that you want to add, Doug, before we do our housekeeping?
No, I think I'm good. I think I'm glad that the Charizard episode was second, because if the Charizard episode was first, I don't know.
We wouldn't have gotten through the next episode. No, we would have. We would have, people. But all right, a little housekeeping here. If you like our show and you want to listen to our shows ad-free, go ahead and subscribe to our show via Patreon at patreon.com/everypokemon, where you can get all of our shows ad-free. You can get all of our movies ad-free, and you can also become a guest on our show. Now, if you don't have that extra coin to toss our way, go ahead and subscribe to us on Spotify, because they help keep the lights on here. And if not Spotify, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube, because our feed is on there as well, and that will help keep the lights on here going forward as well. So those are the 2 avenues that we would like for you to subscribe to. Now, we don't care how you enjoy our show. For the most part, if we're on iTunes, or if you don't want to subscribe via Spotify and you just want to enjoy the show, thank you for being one of our supporters all of these years. I'm sure me and Doug at some point are going to think of a way to tie in something for our 5th year coming up this upcoming July, so be on the lookout for that. And do you have anything else that you would like to add, Doug, to this? I know I asked you before, but bringing up the anniversary, I didn't know if you had any type of take on that.
No, I mean, we have had discussions off mic about like what would be an appropriate way to celebrate 5 years. I know we've talked about doing certain episodes. Might be time to bring one of those out. I'm not gonna speculate any further, because I feel like the more you talk about something, the more you paint your corner. But I feel like inevitably, as it gets closer, we're gonna have more frequent discussions, possibly to the point where we nail something down. And when we do nail something down, y'all will be the first to know.
Yes. All right. Well, that being said, Doug, go ahead and give your goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Professor Chris G telling all of you that we'll be back next week with another breakdown, everyone. Have a good night, everyone.